love for others what you love for yourself. Love for others what you love for yourself. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in a hadith, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. You won't truly believe unless you love for your brother what you love for yourself. Akhihi, your brother. Imam Rajab al-Hanbali in his Compendium of Wisdom and Knowledge, he said this doesn't just mean Muslim, this means insaniya, an-nas, humanity. You love for others what you love for yourself. There's another hadith in Al-Bukhari, narrated by Al-Bukhari in Tarikh Al-Kabir, it's authentic hadith, and it says to love for linnas, for people, humanity, what you love for yourself. So a defining feature of who we are and who we want to be is to love for others what we love for yourselves. As the Prophet ﷺ said, لا يؤمنوا, you won't truly believe unless you love for others what you love for yourself. And if we love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if we love the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we should be giving this love to other people, right? According to this spiritual principle of these hadith, if we love Allah and the Messenger, and for us to be true believers, we have to give what we love to others, then if we love Allah and His Messenger, we should be giving that love to other people, right? Are you with me? So how do you give that love to other people? How do you give the love of Allah and the love of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam to other people? What do you have to do? Give dawah. Did you hear what the brother said? Pay attention. Give dawah, exactly. And this is why we need to be responding to the call of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to that which gives us life. This is very significant. It's a key part of defining who we are. It's a key part of loving for others what we love for ourselves, is giving da'wah. Showing why I love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Showing why I love the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And especially in our times of a post-Trump era, we must be showing people what Islam is about now. We can't be blaming the Zionists and Fox News anymore. Islamophobia. I really believe a lot of Islamophobia is actually dawah-phobia, right? It's dawah-phobia. We're too scared to talk about who we are. Don't get me wrong, there are haters, they're going to exist. But the point is, don't be a victim. Don't be a victimhood person that suffers from the pathology and disease of being a victim. This is not of the Sunnah. If you study the seerah, you will see that every calamity and trial the Prophet ﷺ would use in order to create a new realm of possibility in order for him to call people to La ilaha illallah. And this is very, very significant for us to understand, brothers and sisters. So love for others for what you love for yourself. Third principle, tolerance and forbearance. Tolerance and forbearance. To forgive and to overlook, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. You want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive you, so you should forgive others too. This is a key principle in the Quran. It's a key principle in our tradition. When we study the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was so forgiving and he had tolerance concerning negativity and hardship. We know the famous story of the man who pulled him by the neck and left a mark. And one of the Sahaba wanted to actually, sort him out. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with hilm, with forbearance and humility and compassion, gave them both advice. We needed something better from both of you. That you tell him to ask for his debt properly and you advise me to pay for my debt. This sense of forbearance was a key feature of the character of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. To forgive and overlook, so we don't become petty people anymore. We look at the prize. We don't look at the small things. So what? They said something about you. Forgive them. Forgive them. It will free you from such a burden. With all these things that you're holding on your neck, the stuff that you're holding within you, just forgive. Let it go. You want everybody to go to Jannah. You want everyone to be happy. You want to free yourself from the burden of, why did they do this? Why did they do that? Pointing fingers. Keep your eye on the prize, brothers and sisters. Paradise. Just forgive people. Everyone's going to end in their grave. Everyone's going to have to account for their deeds and speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So from this point of view, understand that everyone is weak, everyone is on a journey. Forgive and overlook and have forbearance. The next principle, brothers and sisters, is following Allah and His Messenger. And this is very significant. It links to worshipping Allah, but I want to bring it out as a key principle here, is to obey Allah and His Messenger. Now the first point I want to add is, as a principle, this is the most rational principle in the world. But we're brought up in the West, to obey is very negative. To obey is like, you have blind faith. I really hate this attitude, honestly. Obedience to Allah is the summit of intellectual, spiritual activity. Obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the peak of what it means to be a rational, spiritual human being. I'm being so honest here. Why am I saying this? Because if you look at general life, when you see the atheists or the agnostics or the other people, whoever they are, they obey something all the time. When you go to the doctor, you give them your symptoms. What does the doctor say? Take this medicine. What do? You take the medicine. You don't question. You don't say, where are your qualifications? You don't say, show me the science behind this. Because you admit that they are an authority. There is a certain authority or wisdom that you submit to. I came here on a plane. I'm on a plane quite often these days. What do I usually hear? Ladies and gentlemen, please sit down and fasten your seatbelt. There'll be some moderate to high turbulence. What do? I sit down, I buckle up, dua, right? Well, I should be making dua anyway. I don't basically say, who does the pilot think he is? The silly man. He doesn't know nothing about the plane or turbulence, and I'm going to start moonwalking on the plane. That's just not going to happen, is it? Right? Because I obey his authority, because I know he has a particular knowledge that I don't have, right? So whether we're on the plane, at school, university, medicine, teachers, whatever the case may be, we submit our own limited wisdom and authority to a greater, higher wisdom and authority. Just like the famous, well, she's not famous, but I've probably made her famous. I spoke about her quite a lot. Dr. Elizabeth Fricker, she's an epistemologist. It's a big word, don't worry about that. Basically, she says that given my limitations as parametric, that I have limitations, I have to submit myself to an authority. So the point here is this: who is the greater authority? The pilot, the teacher, the doctor, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Who's the greater authority? Exactly. So is it more rational to submit to a teacher, a doctor, or a pilot, or to Allah? I can't hear you. Allah, exactly. So it's the most rational thing to do. So let's not fall for the so-called satanic intellectualism, right? The pseudo-intellect of shaitan. When Allah told him to bow down to Adam, what did shaitan say? Hold on a second. I made a flyer. He's made of clay. You need fire for clay, right? So he didn't obey because of his arrogance. He was the first pseudo-rationalist. He denied the ultimate authority. From this perspective, we have to understand Allah is Al-Hakim. He has the totality of wisdom and knowledge. Allah has the picture. We just have one pixel. And that's a very key principle. And when we follow this principle, we don't adopt the methodology of our enemies. Let me repeat what I'm saying here. We do not adopt the methodology of our enemies. What do our enemies do? And I'm not giving any labels here, but our enemies, they otherize us. What does otherization mean? Otherization is actually the basis for genocide. If you look at a lot of social theorists, they say to otherize a group is the basis for hatred and genocide. Now, otherization, brothers and sisters, is not to say here are Muslims, here are Christians, here are Jews. That's fine. It's natural to categorize groups within a society. But otherization is not only do you categorize another people as a group, but you categorize them negatively and you say they're a monolith. They're all the same. That is otherization. And unfortunately, we adopt the same methodology, right? We say, oh, Republicans, they're just all right-wing nuts. That's not true. That's just not true, right? In any shape, my publishers are Republicans, and they're really decent people. So what you need to understand is this, that we shouldn't adopt the methodology just because social media is saying something, Google is saying something, our groupies are saying something, yeah, it must be right. We have to adopt a Quranic, ethical approach to understanding human people, different peoples. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Imran, verse 113, Laysa sawaha. They're not the same. They're not all alike. People are not all alike. If you look at the Mufassirin, At-Tabari, Ibn Kathir and others, they discuss that even amongst the Jews and the Christians, you have people that are different and they're just and upright. So from this point of view, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching us that yes, there are groups of people, but not everybody is the same. And this creates a more of a nuanced approach to understanding different peoples, and it actually prevents extremism. Because violent extremism especially is when you have in your own mind and in your own heart that there is a group of people, they're all enemies, they're all negative, and they're all the same. This is not a Quranic approach.